Arizona. The Supreme Court in that state has now ruled that it can uphold a ban on all abortions except those to save a mother's life.
Just a single day after Donald Trump bragged about ending Roe v. Wade and endorsing whatever states want to do as long as you vote for him, the Arizona Supreme Court has upheld a near total abortion ban that was passed in '64. That's 1864, not 1964. An 1864 anti-abortion bill that comes with the potential for imprisonment for doctors who perform or participate in abortions. Providers can be subject to 2 to 5 years in prison. Wow. And all of a sudden, the implications of what Trump is saying are very, very real. NPR reports the Arizona Supreme Court allows a near total abortion ban to take effect soon. There's the medical and ethical reality, and then there's the political repercussions, which seem to be sort of bad regardless of your view on abortion, and I'll get to that in a moment. The NPR article explains abortions will soon be outlawed in Arizona, except in cases where a pregnant person's life is at risk. Note that missing from that are exceptions for rape and incest. The only exception is life of the mother. The state Supreme Court has ruled that Arizona should follow a restrictive abortion law dating back to the 1860s. Since December of 2022, Arizona doctors have been allowed to provide abortions up to 15 weeks into a pregnancy based on a lower court's interpretation of state law. But the state Supreme Court now says Arizona should follow a law banning abortions in almost all cases. It makes no exceptions for rape, no exceptions for incest, and makes performing an abortion punishable by 2 to 5 years in prison. They are going back to an abortion law from the era in which leeches were used as so-called medical treatment. That's where we are today. Now, understand that the reason you might be wondering, wait a second, so the law goes back to 1864. Why is it all of a sudden coming into force? It's coming into force now because this law became unenforceable after Roe v. Wade. When Roe v. Wade set a sort of minimum framework for what it is that has to be legal and what is illegal when it comes to denying women certain care, the existence of Roe v. Wade made this 1864 law essentially irrelevant. This is not only the case in Arizona. In fact, we've talked about the very real scenario, and now it is extraordinarily real, wherein there are lots of old abortion laws which were irrelevant during the multi-decade period that Roe v. Wade was in force. When Roe v. Wade was overturned, thanks to the Supreme Court that was molded by Donald Trump's 3 Supreme Court picks, the question became, what happens now with all of these really old draconian abortion laws? At least as far as Arizona is concerned, what happens now is that those abortion laws become active law. Here is how Fox News covered this news. You reap what you sow, right, at the end of the day.
Meanwhile, John, we've got some breaking news on abortion and Arizona. The Supreme Court in that state has now ruled that it can uphold a ban on all abortions except those to save a mother's life. This rule was originally passed back in 1864. It provides no exceptions for rape or incest, but allows abortions if a mother's life is in danger. This ban goes into effect 14 days from today's ruling. And obviously, this is heating up more and more, John, as a major focus as we head toward the presidential election.
Now, there's a few different questions here. First of all, it's the one of, are there any other areas where we want to go back to 1864? Is there any area of medicine where we would say what we came up with as a species in 1864 makes more sense than what we have right now? Whether it comes to treatment, whether it comes to prevention, whether it comes to lack of antibiotics. I mean, you tell me. But on abortion, 1864 is the gold standard. The saguaro cacti in Arizona now have more rights and protections, not a joke, than women when it comes to reproductive rights. The second question is whether MAGA and Trump will be blamed for this to the extent that the country disagrees with it. And I will remind you, even though there's lots of lip service paid to pro-life, murder is bad, all this stuff, for all the lip service, the majority of the country believes abortion should be legal in most circumstances. And this is a direct result of what Donald Trump's position now is. Remember from his whacked Monday video, a swollen and orange sweaty video, where he essentially says, listen, states can now do whatever they want. Just make sure you vote for me, okay?
My view is now that we have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint, the states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land. In this case, the law of the state. Many states will be different. Many will have a different number of weeks, or some will have more conservative than others, and that's what they will be. At the end of the day, this is all about the will of the people. My view is that
Trump's position that he has outlined is this is fine. And by definition, regardless of Trump's personal view, regardless of where Trump would draw the proverbial line on this, Arizona saying, let's go to our 1864 law, is part of the framework that Donald Trump outlined as okay. Will this impact voters in Arizona, a state that Joe Biden won in 2020, not by a large margin, and which could be a critical state in assembling that same slate of electoral votes in 2024? I don't know. In a sane and logical world where the vast majority of Americans believe abortion should be legal in most cases, you would have enough Republicans in Arizona who say, listen, I'm as much for low taxes as the next guy or gal. But when it comes to this framework where Trump says states should do whatever they want, no more Roe v. Wade, and here's what my state of Arizona did. In a normal world, that would impact enough Republicans where Trump doesn't stand a chance in November. Is that actually the reality and the way that it will go down in November? I don't know. It's there is a lot of hyper partisanship, weaponized ignorance. So I'm just not sure. And in the meantime, the grotesque post-birth abortion lies continue from Republicans. As many of you no doubt know, I'm originally from Argentina, and one of the things I really miss about being there is the soccer and how easy it is to find it on TV. And now that I live in the US, for soccer, I turn to private internet access. Our sponsor, Private Internet Access, is a VPN that lets you change your IP address and make it look like your computer is anywhere in the world. So I can set it to Argentina to access the soccer matches. I can set it to the UK to access British Netflix content, much of which is really good. A VPN is useful for many things like preventing your browsing history from being leaked online, but downloading and streaming large files like TV shows and movies is one area where private internet access really shines. Many VPNs are just too slow for streaming, the buffering, the disconnects. It's a nightmare. It is super easy to use private internet access. You turn it on with a single click, you're done. Works on your computer, tablet, TV, Roku, game console, anywhere that you stream, and you can use it on all your devices with just one account. Get private internet access for 83% off, which comes out to $203 a month, plus 4 extra months for free. Go to piavpn.com/Pacman. The link is down below.